Laughter echoed through the car, a stark contrast to the desolate landscape unfolding outside the windows. Four friends, exhilarated by the promise of adventure, sped towards the secluded Black Ridge Resort. Mark, the thrill-seeker, had discovered the abandoned haven, a place whispered to hold a dark past. Lisa, ever the cautious one, voiced her concern. "Are you sure about this place, Mark? It seems off." Mark, ever confident, just laughed. "Relax, Lisa, it's going to be an adventure." The sun dipped below the horizon as they arrived, painting the sky in hues of blood orange and bruised purple. The resort loomed before them, a skeletal silhouette against the dying light. A shiver ran down Lisa's spine, the laughter dying in her throat. The air hung heavy with an unnatural stillness, the silence broken only by the rustling of leaves, sounding eerily like whispers. As they unloaded the car, a thick fog began to roll in, blanketing the resort in an ethereal shroud. Unease settled over the group, their earlier excitement waning under the oppressive atmosphere. Nightfall brought an oppressive darkness, the kind that felt alive, pressing against the windows of the old resort. Inside, the friends huddled around a crackling fire, their faces flickering in the dancing flames. The silence was broken only by the crackling of the fire and the occasional creak of the old building, each sound amplified in the stillness. A sudden crash from upstairs shattered the uneasy peace. Mark, ever the brave one, grabbed a flashlight. "Stay here," he instructed, his voice tight with a tension that belied his brave words. Upstairs, the musty air hung heavy, thick with the scent of decay and something else, and something unidentifiable yet innately unsettling. Each step on the creaking floorboards echoed in the silence, raising goosebumps on Mark's arms. He followed the sound of dripping water to a bathroom at the end of the hallway. The door creaked open, revealing a scene frozen in time. The rusted faucet dripped rhythmically into a cracked porcelain sink, the mirror above it reflecting not Mark, but a distorted, shadowy figure. Mark blinked, his heart pounding in his chest. Taking a deep breath, he told himself it was just a trick of the light, the flickering beam of his flashlight playing tricks in the darkness. He stepped closer, reaching out to touch the mirror. As his fingers brushed against the cold glass, a blood-curdling scream pierced the silence. Mark whirled around, his blood running cold. Standing in the doorway was Lisa, her eyes wide with terror, her finger pointing at something behind him. He turned back, but the figure in the mirror was gone. Panic seized the group. John, usually the calm one, paced the room, his face pale. "This is insane! We need to get out of here!" he exclaimed, his voice high with fear. Lisa, still shaken, nodded in agreement, but Mark, his curiosity now piqued by fear, refused to leave. "There's something here," he insisted, his eyes gleaming with a strange fascination. "Something wrong." The night wore on, each tick of the clock a hammer blow to their sanity. Whispers seemed to emanate from the walls, shadows danced at the edge of their vision, and the temperature dropped to an unnatural chill. They were trapped, not by physical barriers, but by the growing sense of dread that clung to them like a shroud. Then, the mirrors began to show their true faces. It started subtly. A flicker of movement in the reflection of a window, a fleeting glimpse of a figure that wasn't there. Then, more boldly, their own reflections began to contort, their faces twisting into grotesque parodies of their own. The mirrors, once reflecting their images, now showed their deepest fears, their darkest desires. Terror morphed into chaos when their doppelgangers stepped out of the mirrors. Each one was an exact replica, yet twisted, their eyes glowing with an eerie light. Panic erupted, the friends scattering through the darkened corridors, their screams echoing through the empty halls. They were hunted, pursued by their own twisted reflections, their worst selves given form. Lisa, separated from the group, found herself cornered in a dusty old library. Her doppelganger approached, a cruel smile playing on its lips. "There's no escape," it hissed, its voice a chilling echo of her own. Driven by pure adrenaline and terror, Lisa lunged past the creature, racing through the darkened halls. She found the others, their faces etched with terror, and together they made their escape. They piled into the car, the engine roaring to life, a sound of salvation in the oppressive silence. As they sped away, the resort shrinking behind them, Lisa dared to look back. The fog had cleared, and in the pale moonlight, she could have sworn she saw figures standing on the balcony, their silhouettes outlined against the faint glow emanating from within. They were waving, their movements mimicking the frantic farewell she had just given. But it wasn't relief she saw on their faces. It was a chilling, triumphant joy. They had escaped the resort. But the terror, the haunting echoes of that night, would forever linger in the corners of their minds, a chilling reminder of the horrors that lurked just beyond the veil of reality. The car sped on, leaving behind the silence and the shadows. But the silence, Lisa knew, was deceptive. It was the silence that screamed the loudest.